Ngāi Mob, so we are on to the final pillar of the warrior heart as it stands right now. Your heart speaks truth. To live from your heart is to honour the very essence of being human, the very privilege of being born a human being in this lifetime, the next one, or past lifetimes. As an Indigenous woman, following my heart is it's not a revolutionary thing. It's our truth. It is just our natural state of being, is to follow our heart, to know our heart, and to allow our hearts to lead us and to guide us to live from our soul, our dreaming, and our hearts, not just what we see externally, but to be led from an internal higher vision and belief system. To follow one's heart is to know one's truth. It is to know what makes your heart beat. It is to know what makes your heart stop, what catches your breath, what sets your heart on fire, what sets your life on fire. This is what it means to live as a heart. Now, in the warrior heart community, in the movement, in the concept, as a concept, a practice, and a principle, what does it mean to follow your heart? And to live a life truly aligned and ignited in your truth, in your power, and in your dreaming. Hold on, trying to manage multiple texts at the same time. So, heart and following your heart is a concept, a practice, and a principle for the warrior heart community and movement. It's about knowing yourself, and it's being courageous enough to let your heart lead and guide you in how you show up, the work that you do, and how you love yourself, this life, and those that you are here to serve. Heart is the place where your spirit, your ancestors, and your dreaming meet. It's where your essence of who your spirit came here to be in this time and place. Because as an Indigenous woman, we believe and practice and know that we are already born knowing who we are and what we came here to do. And our life's work is to actualize ourselves into our purpose, into our strengths and our truth and our gifts. Because the greatest resource we can be to our community is when we are actualized into our strength and our truth. Because here's the thing. When you are actualized in your truth, you don't need energy. You don't need motivation. Because it is its own movement. It is its own energy. And you don't need batteries. When you are connected to your purpose and your dreaming, you don't need batteries because it is its own energy source. Hey, baby, I'm almost finished. And it's a sacred fire within you. It's an ember that is always there, that is just waiting for us to have the courage to find the fuel, to stoke the fire and allow the fire to burn away all that gets in the way of us being ourselves and of us being who we are called to be of service to the world by being a service to ourselves first. Because in order to know your heart, in order to follow your heart, you need to have self-awareness. You need to believe in your own self-worth. You need to know yourself. You need to know your truth. You need to know your power, and you need to be willing to be with all those things, to be courageous enough, warrior enough to follow your heart into this world. And it's a sacred fire that can be a guiding light to yourself and to others. It can be a guiding force that connects you to your purpose, your culture, your identity, your community. And it's not just about how you feel. It's about knowing where you come from, honoring your story and walking with courage and compassion. My ancestors did not come as far as they did for me to stop here. My ancestors and my calling is for me to become my most aligned and ignited self as an Indigenous woman in her dreaming. Because when I do that, I heal the ancestors and the generations and the women in my community and my line that couldn't do that. I remember and reclaim. It is a revolution. It is a reclamation and a reckoning when I follow my heart for all the generations of women and ancestors that could do that. Being a bridge between the ancestral and the emerging. And it's a place where we hold our truth, grounded in our connection to country, kinship, our ancestors' wisdom, and our own inner knowing. Being able to follow your heart is having that inner knowing, trusting that inner knowing, and living from and being from that place. Following your heart means trusting your inner knowing, the whispers of your ancestors and the wisdom of country. It's about stepping into a path that feels true even when it challenges you. When you feel afraid, it's about being brave enough to follow your truth and be your truth into the world. Whether it's that difficult conversation, whether it's ending that relationship, whether it's taking your life in a whole new direction, or accepting that what those dreams and that what once served you, what helped you survive, is now the thing holding you back. It's walking and being in alignment. It's honouring the values and the principles and the practices of those who came before you, the ones that serve and honour who you are now, and that serve and honour the world that we live in, but also the world that we want to see once we leave this time and place. Following your heart is about honouring the sacred connection between your spirit, your ancestors, and your purpose in your dreaming. As a practice, it's about showing up every day with courage, conviction, clarity, and the clarity could just be that you know today you just need to do this one thing, or you're being guided in this one direction and trusting that guiding, that inner knowing is enough. It means honouring your story, sitting with your shadows and walking with the strength of your ancestors, because our shadows are as much a part of us, making peace with who we are, who we were, and who we're becoming, and learning how to weave those together. It's a journey of deep listening. This is where Dadidi, deep listening, and I will do separate videos on these concepts, these cultural practices. Dadidi is Dadiri. It's an Aboriginal concept that was gifted to the world. It's deep listening, it's contemplation to self, to country, to culture, to others. And when we sit in listening, when we sit in truth, the truth can find us. Our heart can speak to us when we are silent, when we are willing to listen and we have the courage to show up. And it's about acting in ways that honour who you are and what you stand for and who you serve. As a practice, it's about listening to spirit, taking time to reflect, sit still and connect to the wisdom that lives within you and around you. That's why I'm recording on country, because country speaks to us. It teaches us if only we're courageous enough to listen and humble enough to listen. Being and walking with courage, acting with strength even when the path is difficult or lonely, and knowing that if you stand alone, you are not alone. Your ancestors in your dreaming are always with you. Showing kindness and compassion. Carrying empathy and compassion for yourself and others, knowing we're all connected in kinship and we're all at different parts of the journey. It is not our job to carry and rescue others. And the greatest thing we can do for others is to empower them through our example. It's honouring the land, living in a way that respects and protects country, and understanding that holds and guides us. When we live with country, we honour country now. No, you go sit down because you're not listening. No, sit down. Following my heart is also about being a mum and allowing that to weave into my work and how I show up. One of our core principles of being Aboriginal people is look after country and country will look after you. Only take what you need and leave the rest. Practicing hard is about living in a way that reflects your truth, guided by your ancestors and grounded in the strength of cultural connection, and being led by your dreaming. It means regularly coming back to yourself, checking in with yourself and going, am I still in alignment? Am I still ignited? Is my heart still speaking to me? Can I still hear my heart? And asking if your actions are grounded and are seated and honour your truth in your dreaming. It's about walking and being with courage, even when the way is uncertain or unknown. It's about being willing to take action, not just sitting back waiting for the universe or your ancestors to give you all the answers. Give them something to bless. And trusting that you are being walked alongside, that you are being resourced. It's about being with intention and courage, knowing that you are never alone. As a principle, this is sacred law of living in alignment with your truth and purpose, in connection and relationship, because life is an act of co-creation. It is an act of responsibility and reciprocity. This is where Harambe comes in. Are you collateral damage to your life and to those that you love? Or is your life and those that you love beneficiaries of who you are and how you're showing up? Is your individual contribution empowering the collective towards a collective purpose? Or is it damaging the collective purpose because of your individual contribution? Because you're not being self-determined, you're not being sovereign, you're not being responsible, you're not showing up. It's the sacred law of alignment, and this is a core principle and practice of spirit and culture in the Warrior Heart community and movement. It's a way of being that honors connection, resilience, and responsibility and reciprocity to self, others, and country. And it's about living with courage and speaking with integrity and walking softly but powerfully. So some of the core threads is courage from connection, drawing strength from your ancestors and culture to face challenges head on. Integrity through truth, speaking and acting in ways that reflect your true self and your cultural values. Compassion in kinship, leading with empathy and love and creating space for healing and connection. Now, following this as a principle means living in alignment with your dreaming and purpose, trusting that your path will not only serve you, but your family, community, and culture. It's the belief that by walking in your truth, you honor your ancestors and pave the way for those to follow. It's a sacred act of self-determination and sovereignty and spiritual alignment with your role in the dreaming. And when you set yourself free, you set others free as well. When you know your truth and you know your heart, you walk tall and grounded. You are at peace. You find your warrior self, and you can walk with conviction and courage and clarity because you know your truth, you know your power, and you're following your heart. And you trust that you're guided by the universe and life and your ancestors. You are never alone, even if you are standing alone. You're connected, and you live in a way that reflects your dreaming, your responsibility, and your power and your potential. When you know your truth and you follow your heart, you have cultural pride. You stand firmly in your identity, honoring your roots and the stories that shaped you. But you also carry the wisdom and the ancestral calling and mandate that is on you and on your life. You have clarity of purpose. You understand your role in your dreaming and the legacy you are here to leave. Your connection to kinship. Your relationships are built on trust, integrity, reciprocity, responsibility, respect, and love. Harmony with country. You walk lightly on the land and you respect its teaching and its gifts. We are one with the world. The country is our mother. When you know your truth and your heart, you embody your ancestors' wisdom, your cultural strength, and your purpose in your dreaming. When you are actualized into your heart, you heal the past. Living from your heart breaks cycles of intergenerational trauma and reconnects you to your cultural strength. You empower the present. It brings clarity, courage, and connection, allowing you to live fully and intentionally. Building the future. When you follow your heart, you create a legacy that inspires others to rise into their dreaming. As an individual, knowing and living your truth brings inner peace, courage, resilience, and fulfillment. To your family, it strengthens kinship, creating space for healing and connection and collective purpose and empowerment. For your community, it inspires others to reclaim their stories and walk their paths. And this weaves together that Harambe concept of individual contribution to collective purpose. Future generations, when you embody your truth, you pave the way for your children and grandchildren to walk in strength and in pride. When someone lives their truth, they heal themselves, they uplift their communities, and they honour the legacy of their ancestors while creating a better future for generations to come. This is the core tenet of the Warrior Heart community. This is your calling. It's a sacred act of courage and connection. You trust the guidance of your ancestors. You can hear them. You walk in alignment with yourself and your knowing. And you are led by your dreaming. You show up in the world with authenticity, power, and purpose. You're fighting for who you know you need to be. And it's not just an idea, it's a way of being that empowers you to rise to your truth, heal from the past, and create meaningful change for yourself, your family, and your community by showing up for yourself first. And it matters because when you serve this, you serve your community, your family, and you serve the world where truth, resilience, and cultural sovereignty thrive. Big love you, mob. And I'm so grateful that you've gotten to this part. And there'll be some more things added underneath, but this is the core elements and the beginning of the warrior heart. And this is the video about following your heart. Big love.